Hey, what's up everyone? If you own a Switch or a Switch 2 and you're into action RPGs, this one's for you. We're counting down 15 of the best the platform has to offer, from indie gems to massive open worlds. Let's get into it. Bastion. Developed by Supergiant Games, you play as the Kid, a silent protagonist who wakes up after a catastrophic event called the Calamity has literally shattered the world into floating pieces. Your job is to reach the Bastion, a sanctuary where survivors are supposed to gather and rebuild it by collecting powerful cores scattered across crumbling environments. The combat is real-time, isometric, and fast. You pick 2 weapons from a solid arsenal and go to town on enemies while dodging attacks. You can mix hammers, rifles, mortars, and more, upgrading everything back at the Bastion between levels. The thing that really sets this game apart, though, is the narrator, a gravelly-voiced man named Rux, who comments on everything you do in real time. Attack an enemy, he reacts. Wander off the path, he notices. It's a storytelling trick that makes you feel genuinely part of the world, short, tight, and memorable. Dark Souls is the game that made difficult but fair a whole genre. You play as the chosen undead, a cursed warrior dropped into Lordran, a dying kingdom full of monsters, traps, and secrets. The story is told almost entirely through the environment and item descriptions, not cutscenes. There's no hand-holding. You explore, fight, die, learn, and try again. Combat is deliberate. You manage stamina, read enemy patterns, time your dodges and parries, and every single fight demands your full attention. When you die, you drop your souls, the game's currency and XP, where you fell. Get back there and pick them up, or lose them forever. Bonfires act as checkpoints, and lighting them while also leveling up and summoning help from other players adds a rhythm to the whole thing. Having this on Switch means you can now suffer through Ornstein and Smo on a bus. Progress, honestly. NieR Automata is not a normal game. Developed by Platinum Games, you're dropped into a post-apocalyptic Earth where machines sent by aliens have taken over and humanity has fled to the moon. You play as android combat units, starting with 2B, then later 9S and A2, sent down to reclaim the planet. The combat is fast, satisfying hack-and-slash action where you swap between light and heavy attacks, juggle weapon loadouts mid-combo, and dodge bullet hell projectiles. But the gameplay isn't always the same. The camera shifts to side-scrolling, top-down, even shoot-'em-up sections without warning, and it always feels intentional. The story requires multiple playthroughs to fully understand, and each one reveals something new. It's philosophical, strange, emotional, and completely unlike anything else. This Switch version comes packed with all the DLC. If you played Fire Emblem Three Houses and wanted more time with those characters, Three Hopes delivers that in a completely different way. Instead of turn-based strategy, this is a warrior-style action game where you cut through hundreds of enemies at a time. You play as Shez, a new mercenary who crosses paths with Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude, the 3 house leaders, and gets pulled into the war for Fodlan. The twist is, this takes place in an alternate timeline where Byleth, the protagonist from 3 Houses, is now your rival. You choose a house and experience their side of the war, and each of the 3 routes tells a genuinely different story with different outcomes. Between battles, you're back at camp bonding with allies over meals, training, and conversations, all of which improve their performance on the battlefield.
That's enough. We did what we came to do. Everyone, fall back!
What? No.
Tales of Arise is a JRPG about 2 people from completely different worlds trying to change their fate. You've got Alphen, an amnesiac man on the enslaved planet Dana who can't feel pain and wields a flaming sword, and Xion, a woman from the conquering planet Rena who carries a dangerous curse that hurts anyone she touches. Their reluctant partnership slowly builds into something genuinely moving. The combat is real-time and fast. You pick one character to control directly while your AI companions fight alongside you, and you call in their special abilities called Artes at key moments. It creates this rhythm of attacking, dodging, and coordinating that stays fresh for most of the game's 60+ hours. The Beyond the Dawn expansion adds about 20 more hours set after the main story, focusing on the aftermath and introducing a new character named Nazamil.
Rising
I'm freezing form. That's my cue.
Shut him down!
Skyrim is one of the most content-dense open-world RPGs ever made. You're the Dragonborn, a warrior with the power to absorb dragon souls and use their shouts as weapons. The main story involves a dragon prophecy and an ancient threat. But honestly, most people spend the majority of their time doing everything else. Joining guilds, hunting bounties, building houses, crafting gear, exploring caves, or just climbing mountains to see what's up there. Combat is flexible. Sword and shield, dual wielding, magic builds, stealth archer. You can play it however you want. Skills level up through use, so you naturally become better at what you actually do. The Switch version includes all 3 DLC packs, Dawnguard, Hearthfire, and Dragonborn, and even supports motion controls for archery and spellcasting if you're into that. It's an older game at this point, but the sheer volume of stuff to do still holds up. Hundreds of hours, easy. The Witcher 3 on Switch is kind of a miracle. This is a massive, dense, open-world RPG that somehow runs on Nintendo's hardware. And it's the complete edition, meaning you get the base game plus both expansions, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, all in one package. You play as Geralt of Rivia, a monster hunter for hire who's trying to find his adopted daughter, Ciri, before a spectral army called the Wild Hunt gets to her first. The world is enormous and full of life. Every village has its own problems, every quest has multiple outcomes, and the side content is just as well written as the main story. Combat mixes swords, magical signs, bombs, and oils in a system that rewards preparation and timing. You need to research enemies, apply the right oil, and use the right spells to fight effectively on higher difficulties.
Of course, when armies pass, necrophages follow. Let's go before any more show up.
Dragon's Dogma is one of those underrated gems that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. You're the Arisen, a warrior whose heart has been stolen by a dragon, leaving you with no choice but to hunt it down. The world is a big, dangerous fantasy landscape full of massive creatures that you can actually climb onto and hack apart mid-fight. Think Shadow of the Colossus, but as a core mechanic. You build a party of companions called pawns, including your own main pawn that you fully customize and can share with other players online. Each class, fighter, mage, ranger, mystic knight, plays completely differently, and you can switch between them freely. The Dark Arisen version includes a brutal extra dungeon called Bitter Black Isle that adds a ton of endgame challenge. The story is dark, cryptic, and takes some unexpected turns. Granblue Fantasy Relink Endless Ragnarok. You're the captain of a crew of skyfarers aboard an airship exploring the floating islands of Ziga Grande. The story involves investigating why primal beast guardians are going berserk and clashing with a dangerous cult along the way. It's not the deepest narrative, but the character cast is huge and full of personality. Where this game truly shines is the combat and endgame. You build a party of 4 from a massive roster, each with completely unique movesets and mechanics. Fast melee fighters, long-range casters, support healers. Battles flow through combo chains, link attacks, and chain bursts between party members that feel incredible to pull off. The Endless Ragnarok version adds new story content, a solo challenge mode called The Conflux, new summon mechanics, and extra co-op quest tiers.
Little more and the day's ours.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the second part of Square Enix's trilogy reimagining the original FF7. Picking up right after Remake, Cloud and his crew leave Midgar and set out into the wider world, chasing Sephiroth while being branded as terrorists by the Shinra Corporation. This game is massive. Multiple sprawling regions, each packed with activities, side quests, minigames, and story content. The combat expands on Remake's formula by blending real-time action with tactical ATB-based abilities. Every character controls differently, and new synergy skills let party members team up for flashy combo attacks. The Gold Saucer, an enormous amusement park alone, has hours of content, including Queen's Blood, a surprisingly deep card game you can lose a lot of time to. The story balances big cinematic moments with quieter character interactions, and the relationships between the cast feel genuinely earned. Monster Hunter Rise took everything that made World great and rebuilt it for faster, more vertical gameplay. You're a hunter in the village of Kimura, defending it from a catastrophic event called the Rampage Waves of Monsters that descend on the village and need to be repelled. Beyond that, you're hunting increasingly massive and dangerous creatures across open maps, gathering materials, and crafting better gear to take on even bigger hunts. The big new mechanic here is the wire bug, a silk-based grapple tool that lets you swing through the air, scale walls, and launch into aerial attacks. It makes the movement feel freer and more exciting than older games in the series. Each weapon type, all 14 of them, plays completely differently, so finding your main takes some time but is deeply rewarding. You can also ride monsters and use them to attack other monsters, which is exactly as fun as it sounds.
Now's my chance.
The Adventures of Elliot is a brand new action RPG from the creators of Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default, built on the gorgeous HD 2D visual style and released in June 2026. You play as Elliot, an adventurer sent by the King of Huther to investigate mysterious ruins outside the kingdom's protective walls. Along the way, he discovers a doorway of time that lets him travel between 4 different eras of history, uncovering 1,000 years of secrets hidden beneath the continent of Philibieldia. Combat is real-time and top-down, with Elliot using swords, bows, scythe chains, and bombs in a weapon-swapping system that encourages adapting to situations. His fairy companion Faye provides abilities like dashes and teleports that also open up puzzle solutions and hidden areas. The dungeons are layered and rewarding to explore, full of secret rooms and breakable walls. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. This is where the FF7 reimagining begins. Cloud Strife is an ex-soldier turned mercenary, hired by the eco-terrorist group Avalanche to blow up one of Shinra's Mako reactors in the city of Midgar. What starts as a simple job spirals into something much bigger, as secrets about Shinra, Cloud's past, and the fate of the planet start surfacing. The combat is a hybrid of real-time action and command-based strategy. You freely move, dodge, and attack in real time while building ATB charges to use abilities, spells, limit breaks, and items. Each of Cloud's party members, Barrett, Tifa, Aerith, plays completely differently and all feel great to use. The Intergrade version includes the Intermission DLC, a separate episode starring Yuffie Kisaragi on her own mission through Midgar, which adds about 5 hours of fresh content with her own unique combat style.
We're done here.
The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. You wake up as Link with no memory after a 100-year sleep, and the world of Hyrule is laid out in front of you with almost no restrictions on where you go or what you do. Calamity Ganon has taken over Hyrule Castle, and the story pushes you toward confronting it, but you can walk straight to the final boss from the first hour if you want to. The whole game is built on physics and chemistry systems that let you experiment with almost everything. Fire spreads, metal conducts electricity, wood floats, and enemies can be used against each other. The rune abilities, bombs, magnesis, stasis, cryonis, are tools for solving puzzles and combat in ways the game never tells you about. Shrines are mini dungeons spread across the map that reward spirit orbs used to upgrade your health or stamina. The Switch 2 version runs at a stable 60 frames per second, making it feel better than ever. Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition. CD Projekt Red's massive open-world RPG brings Night City, a neon-drenched dystopian megalopolis, fully to portable hardware, and it holds up impressively. You play as V, a mercenary who ends up with a digital ghost of a dead rock star named Johnny Silverhand, voiced by Keanu Reeves, living inside their head after a botched heist. Silverhand is slowly overwriting V's mind, and you've got a limited window to find a cure. The gameplay is deeply flexible. You can build V as a gunslinger, a stealth hacker, a melee brawler, or blend all three using cybernetic augmentations that reshape how you play. Every mission has multiple approaches. Side jobs have their own full story arcs, and decisions you make quietly ripple through who you can meet later. The Ultimate Edition includes Phantom Liberty, a full spy thriller expansion set in the dangerous Dogtown district.
Not neither.
One shot, one bite. У меня для тебя подарок.
That's the list. 15 action RPGs worth your time on Switch and Switch 2, from indie classics to massive modern titles. Drop a comment on which one you're playing or which one we should have included. Like and subscribe if this helped. See you in the next one.